Welcome to the Samuele Tini Show, where business, innovation and sustainability converge to drive progress. Are you ready to uncover solutions shaping our future? Let's dive in. Welcome to a new episode. Today we are going to discuss the value of sustainability with somebody that has embarked in a sustainability journey long ago. She has been at the helm of the United States Green Building Council, and now she's the president and CEO of the Global Network for Zero. We discovered that with Mahesh Ramanujam. Mahesh, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Samuel, for having this opportunity for us to have a great dialogue around why net zero matters.
And really, I would like to understand more because I'm sure you are doing a wonderful job on ESG with businesses and work. But of course, before that, before your leadership, we want to know, who is Mahesh? What is your journey in this world of net zero?
So, as you rightly pointed out, my name is Mahesh Ramanujam, and I am from the southern part of India, from a city called Chennai. It's like Kenya, where you are. It's one of the hottest places in the world. We are pretty close to the equator. So my journey in sustainability started because of survivability, right? So my family was very poor, like many other people in the world. And I had a humble beginning to the extent that my father had just only about $60 worth of money as a monthly income. And I barely had 2 sets of clothes for the entire year. And the most important part is that thanks to my parents, they have funded my education. Me and my brother are well educated. And today, wherever I am is because of my family. So at the end of the day, sustainability was about preserving resources and it's about values. And most importantly, it is about making things available to others. Those don't have it. So that is my connection to sustainability, but that's also my connection to my roots.
And it really tells how it is ingrained is within your roots. You have lived, especially some people, they talk about the grassroots, the struggle, you have lived it on your skin. And really, that's why I think the leadership that you have brought is based on real life experience. And your first leadership has been the tenure as president and CEO of the US Green Building. So you have done the LEED certification system, the decarbonisation. So can you explain a bit why green building is so important?
Yeah, I think, first of all, you highlighted a very important point. It is personal. It's a personal commitment to see the world in a better place. And that's exactly what brought me to the United States Green Building Council in 2009. I joined as head of technology and quickly transitioned to the chief operating officer, then eventually to succeed our founder as the chief executive officer and president of USGBC and GBCI, 2 institutions. The one that sets the green building standard, the other that sets the certification protocol and awards the certification for the buildings to be certified. We transformed the world, particularly the built environment world, with LEED. The LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design standard that helps you to build better buildings because better buildings are equal to better lives. Now, the LEED standard that I normally explain it as a nutrition label for buildings. Like when you go into the grocery store and grab a food item, you're able to see the various ingredients and the various calories and other things that are part of a nutrition label. LEED is the nutrition label for buildings. Now, how a building is better built design-wise, how it is built construction-wise, and how it will be better for its occupants. Particularly we focus on energy, water, waste, transportation, the human experience aspect of it, like comfort, the productivity, etc. And of course, the health and wellness through indoor air quality. And then finally, it's all about how you're orienting the buildings for maximum use and preserving the resources around that building and during the construction of that building. All of this is encompassed in LEED. And LEED is the tool that we have used to transform buildings all around the world. So when I joined the US Green Building Council in 2009, we were at 35 countries and we were about approximately 6.5 billion square feet of green building space that was participating in the LEED program. But when I left US Green Building Council in the end of 2021, we had 110,000 projects around the world, all kinds of projects, be it a 500 square feet building to all the way up to a 1,000,000 square feet building. And then more than in 200 countries and territories were participating in the LEED program. And that is when we realized LEED is not just a tool or a standard or a guideline, but it is a mindset. It's a tool for behavioral change. It's a tool for transformation. It's a tool to transform the real estate sector from being carbonized to decarbonized. And it's a fantastic tool. And I'm very proud of the progress that I made with my partner, Sarah Merrick's at Global Network of Zero, in transforming the world, in creating impact on millions of lives, to save energy, save water, avoid waste from landfills, and most importantly, have a positive impact on people, planet, and profit.
Fantastic, Miles. And your journey, it's such an important part. We have discussed with other guests about green building and such an important area for decarbonization. But you have not stopped there. I think even you have achieved, and then you went for another, using mountaineering a metaphor. So you started after moving from end of 21. From there, you have started the global network for zero, where you are now the founder and CEO and president. So I would like to ask for the audience that is not familiar with it, what is the Global Network for Zero? What is the vision and the mission that you have created?
So, interestingly, we're unfortunately impacted by the effects of COVID. And at that time, Sarah Merricks, my partner, who I co-founded Global Network for Zero, had detailed discussion about what's next in the post-COVID world. And the reason for the question is that during COVID, we noticed the things that we have been advocating before COVID for better indoor air quality came into sharp focus inside these buildings that we were not able to be safe and secure. So that thought process led us to think about, if we are going to have a positive impact on this world, in this post-COVID world, where would we drive the maximum impact, and how will we do it efficiently, and how will we do it across the sector? And that's where the vision of Global Network for Zero was launched. And Global Network for Zero means exactly what it is. Global in nature. We are a network of change makers, and zero is the ultimate goal and ultimate aspiration. Zero for what? Zero energy use. That means a building or a business should not take more energy than it uses. It should generate more energy than it uses, actually, you should say. It should preserve more water than it uses. And most importantly, it should get to zero emission. And that means that it is going to have less negative impact on its environment. And most importantly, a positive impact on the people, planet, and profit. So that is how the Global Network for Zero was formed. And our mission was to actually help projects get to net zero. Be it a building, be it a business, be it a product, be it a process, be it a service. All of them must get towards zero. And what do we mean by zero? Zero scope 1 emissions, zero scope 2 emissions, and zero scope 3 emissions. All encompassing should be zero. And that's a lofty goal. That's an aspirational goal. But our immediate focus was to help the entire sector, regardless of whether it is real estate or non-real estate, is to get started on the journey to net zero so that we can all get it done by 2050, when the Paris Climate Agreement has specified as the date for transformation to zero.
I mean, you say a really lofty goal, because go to zero is not something that is not challenging. And can you delve a bit more about it? How you work? What is the network? How you work within the network? How you have businesses, chain maker? Can you share also maybe some example or case studies that really makes you proud?
Yes, one of the profound things Sarah and I learned while working at US Green Building Council is that the cause that we have undertaken is very profound. What do we mean by that is that when you create a standard, you're able to affect millions of lives around the world. We saw that firsthand with LEED, because people are always looking for greater things to do. And when we introduced the LEED standard, everybody said, this is a standard that we can get behind. This is a standard that we should follow. This is the standard through which we can realize excellence. And this is the standard through which we can lead the world to a better place. And that was for the real estate sector. That was for green building. So our playbook remains the same, even for Global Network for Zero. What we realize profoundly is that green building movement is a movement that believes that real change starts with people. Real change starts with you and me. So similarly, Global Network for Zero starts with people. And real change and real transformation starts with people, which is you and me. So the idea is to bring the best-in-class minds who have a common goal to realize a zero emissions by 2050 together into a platform called Global Network for Zero, and use their knowledge and skills to educate, implement, and importantly, celebrate net zero leadership. That is how we actually pursue our work, pursue this aspirational goal. So what we mean by that on a day-to-day basis. So we interact with thousands and thousands of people around the world. We try to draw on their knowledge. Sometimes we try to solve their problems with the help of our network. And sometimes we shape policies, we shape innovations, we identify technologies to be able to help people to really quickly understand how to understand their own emission statement, and then eventually implement the corrective solutions to actually become zero emissions within the construct in which they work, which could be a building, which could be a business, or which could be a product that they're selling in the market. So our process is pretty straightforward. It starts with a very simple step on analyzing and understanding your emissions. Second, developing and crafting a plan where you're able to reduce and avoid these emissions, of course, over a period of time. Third, incrementally recognizing the progress that you're making towards the plan that you've described to the network as something that you would do. And last but not the least, achieving that most important status of zero emissions and being certified. And not only being certified, but being certified and staying certified is the ultimate goal that you realize through this journey that we have plotted for the world. Now, in the first system, a business or an entity may already have the knowledge to assess the emissions. If they don't, our network can help. Our subject matter experts in the network can lend their knowledge, can provide their consulting capacity to be able to identify those emissions and help them craft those emission paths so that they can understand the hotspots within their entity. Second, our advisory network can help them to understand how to translate that emissions into a meaningful plan, a plan that they can describe to the network so that we can certify them. As you make that implementation plan come to reality, being able to measure the progress, and of course, the progress is measured on how fast and how quickly you are reducing the emissions per your plan from this 100 or 200, as you marked it, to the 50 or the 40% of the actual tracking you have performed, and then eventually clock it all the way down to zero. So the idea here is that to be able to leverage our network at various times during the process, to educate yourself, to get support, and to most importantly, help you measure your progress and then coordinate with the network team of certifiers in our network to really get a third-party verification to say that you are actually net zero certified. That's the journey. And that's how the network engages with the community and the clients and the projects. And the clients and projects can engage and leverage the network to actually realize that end state of achieving a zero emissions world so that they can have the positive impact on people and profit.
And that is very interesting process, Miles. May I get a very quick question? How do you enter? I mean, is it a voluntary membership? Is it a membership one? How do you enter within the network?
I think everybody is welcome to the network. It's an open global network.
Yeah.
And it is not only a global network, but it's also a global network that is localized. What I mean by that is that now you're sitting in Kenya and you're talking to me from Kenya. So you could join the network without any barrier. And through the show, you already have joined the network in a way. And you are already advocating for the cause, if I may, right? So that's the best part of engagement, right? It's an open collaborative engagement where everybody can participate in the network, so that we can realize transformation for everyone within this generation.
Fantastic. And such an important tool also for awareness and for knowledge sharing and creating, a common mindset. And also, I would say, to give good news, which sometimes are often buried within the news of the word that we get. And you pointed out two words. One is certification and one is technology. I will start with the second one, so about technology. How technology can really play a role in sustainability. How do you see, for example, now we are at the brink of what they say, the artificial intelligence revolution, Internet of Things, many words. So how this can help really achieving the objective of net zero?
So, interestingly, before my tenure with sustainability, my first gig was in technology, right? I've seen hardware, software, and consulting extensively, and I still continue to learn, grow, and spend time in that space. So in my third innings, after the sustainability event, the idea was to put together the technology and sustainability experience and go to the place that we all want to go, which is zero, in the most fastest manner. I don't want to get things done by 2050. I want to get them done by 2040. If possible, by 2030. And that can only be possible through technology. So it's not about whether we are going to get there. It is about how we are going to get there. And most importantly, how we are going to get there now. And for that, technology is the ultimate enabler, and it empowers us to actually go to the next level with technology. Now, when we think about technology from a decarbonization point of view, my first mind goes into technologies that allow you to do decarbonization. So we will go to the real technology. If it comes to building materials, how can you reduce the carbon footprint of these building materials? Second, how can you pursue nanotechnology? How can you actually look at carbon capture? How can you really look at technology for redesign and redefinition of projects and products so that you can actually reduce the overall energy footprint? And we are looking at technologies that will help you to better assess emissions and develop a crafty plan so that you can actually implement them in a smarter, good, and greater way. Now, that is one part of technology. I call it the hard technology that you need for products, projects, and processes and businesses to evolve. But then there is the second set of technology, which are tools and mechanisms that allows you to capture data better, analyze data better, process data better, and most importantly, make decisions around that data better. And that is where AI and other technologies come into play. Now, we have to be very careful here. I'm very careful in talking about technology in the sustainability space. First, we have to understand the behavioral aspect because it is transformation. It is about changing mindsets of people. For example, reduction in emissions starts with reduction. So people have to understand that conservation has to be the first principle, right? Conservation around why you need this, how can you avoid this, how can you optimize this? That's more a process-driven exercise. That's an intellectual exercise that everybody has to understand that we don't need to do things with abundant resources being wasted. We have to do things in an efficient manner. Efficiency is possible. Then we use technology to understand opportunities for further enhancement and further efficiency. Why? Because that is where the sequence of technology is very important, and that is where actually real results can come. So from that context, I always use technology as an enabler and an accelerator than the solution for everything, right? Changing my behavior cannot be done through technology, but technology can help me understand data better to know how to change my technology. Let's say that I am eating sugar and I love to eat sugar, and my tool will tell me that I'm eating sugar. But the change has to come from within me to stop eating sugar. So I always prioritize the aspect of behavior, and behavioral change has to be the first step. And that can be changed through insights, better insights from the technology tools and platforms. Of course, artificial intelligence, as we speak about it now, is the most advanced technology available to this humankind. And we are very excited about that technology because synthesizing, analyzing, and even accessing information has become much, much more easier. You can actually go around information around the world and quickly get the glimpses into the better plans that you can make and better outcomes that you can drive for the projects. And that is how I see AI and related technologies complementing the greater transformation process the global network of zero is undertaking.
And thank you so much. And I really like that spot about the behavioral change. And I want to link that with certification because the value of certification usually, even in the literature, is two. One is for the company, for the business, not to signal in a way that they are doing good. And one, of course, for awareness and to lead more sales in a way, because certified products really can be preferred by consumer. And usually statistics say that consumers are more and more preferring that. So what is for you, Mahesh, the value of certification? And how do you ensure within the network really rigorous standard and credible standards?
I think last 15 to 16 years being in the certification space, for me, first and foremost, the certification is a communication tool. It's a form to simply communicate the progress you made. For the last 20 minutes, we have been talking about an extensive topic, right? Network, emissions assessment, technology, all these complexities can be encapsulated into one single view to an end client, to an end user, to an end state with a simplistic method saying this is certified. That means that somebody like us, a third party, has come and reviewed the information, had accounted for complexity, has avoided risk, and ensured that the outcome is not only correct, but the right process and right tools have been deployed to achieve that correctness and greatness. So first and foremost, certification is a communication. Second, when you get certified, you are avoiding the doubts in the minds of the clients about transparency and about your willingness to scrutinize yourself through a third party. Third, the most important aspect of certification and sustainability is about leadership, because you are communicating to the world, particularly to your peers who have been sitting on the fence or who have not been taking tasks, that I have been certified, I have put myself through the third party scrutiny, I am leading the world to a better place. Are you ready to join me? So the certification is a signal to my peers, particularly my competitors, to take action, which otherwise they would not have taken. So this is about a little bit of gamification, if I may use that, a little bit of technology world, once again for behavioral change, is to really show to the world that you can actually compete while collaborating. And that's the best way we define certification, is a collaboration tool to collaborate with your competitors, to actually influence and inspire your peers. And most importantly, to communicate to your stakeholders that you're doing the right thing regardless of who's watching. And that is certification.
And thank you so much, Mahesh. And subsequent to that, can you share some examples, from your work with some businesses that they are dear to your heart, some case study?
Yeah, my favorite case study always will be my first certification that Sarah and I did with the Global Network of Zero. And it is the net zero certification for one of the best properties in the world. Being in Kenya, I will love this. Is for a diamond crafting facility based in India, in Surat, in a tier 2 city. And the organization name is called Sri Ramakrishna Experts. That's a mouthful for some, but it is shortly named as SRK. And SRK has two facilities, two buildings, state-of-art facilities in the world that are diamond crafting facilities that the enterprise has used to become one of the top 3 diamond crafting manufacturing facilities in the world. Why is this story important? This is a LEED Platinum building that has been in a continuous improvement journey since 2011. And it has achieved LEED Platinum, the highest standard possible by LEED, and scores 96 on a score of 110 in trying to position itself to be one of the top 2 green buildings in the world out of the top 6 announced by the US Green Building Council. But this building had made these facilities and its business had made a commitment to get to net zero by 2030. So when we introduced this Global Network for Zero program, I went to Sri Govind Kaka the gentleman who is behind the vision of SRK and the chairman and founder of this organization, and asked him to signal to the market, particularly to the diamond and the jewelry industry, that transformation is possible and feasible in a much faster pace. And he readily welcomed the opportunity to participate in our program and set a goal to accelerate the goal from 2030 to become 2024. And the good news is we got it done by 2024. By March of 2024, in less than 6 to 9 months. And that journey was not easy. And that journey was not impossible. But that journey was done with careful calibration of understanding not only the building's emission, but also the business's emissions across scope 1, 2, and 3 categories. And crafting a very smart plan that included the deployment of 6.5 megawatt solar capacity, a renewable energy capacity, a comprehensive plan to address scope 3 emissions by optimizing the employee vehicle, the commute, electrification of vehicles, and even adding a significant amount of carbon offsets from trees that are grown in and around the businesses that serves the community and for the betterment of the community. And most importantly, through a variety of energy efficiency measures, including the ones that has been already taken in the past day. So it's a perfect continuous improvement story where we have shown that our zero to zero strategy could work. What do we mean by the zero to zero strategy? Buildings that have not gotten started, the businesses that have not gotten started on zero can get started on zero today, not tomorrow, but today. And buildings that have already achieved the highest level of certification like LEED, Platinum, and beyond still could close the gap and get to zero. So that's zero to zero strategy. So SRK stands tall in proving that if you focus on continuous improvement over a period of time, you could see the impossible possible within a very shorter timeline. And that's a case study that is not relevant only to the diamond industry, but can be replicated across the sectors around the world. And most importantly, for any size and any type of building, as long as they have willingness to get started. That's why I love the story about SRK.
Fantastic, Mahesh. And it's such an important part. And it's really, you can see the scope and also the holistic way you have thought about the transformation. And talking about that and looking a bit from above, so you see that now ESG, sustainability, compliance, certification, especially in the US, but not only in the US, are a bit under fire. So from your experience, how organization can embark and really continue in this journey, and how also is still relevant, of course, for you, this journey, and why?
I think it's very important to recognize that when we talk about all these terminologies like ESG, UNSDG, net zero, sustainability, green buildings, one of the challenges we all collectively introduce into the environment is the multiple jargons and the multiple silos of this effort. So Sarah and I always talk about this in a very simpler way. If you want to get started on ESG, UNSDG, circularity, whatever that your choice of keyword is, you must start with net zero emissions, net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste, because these are foundations. If you are not addressing these foundational aspects of sustainability, you are not going to be able to meet the demands and the requirements of be it a ESG framework or an UNSDG guideline, or for that matter, a circularity principle. Now, why is this important? It's because the capital E in ESG depends on the small e. It could be energy or emissions. So these are baby steps to get to a higher goal. Now, what is beautiful about these things is that when you start focusing on these things, you indirectly and directly start affecting, yes, the social aspects. Because all of these things are going to have a negative or a positive impact on the people. Now, of course, an enterprise wants to have a positive impact on its people, particularly its employees, customers, clients, vendors, and variety of stakeholders who are part of the community. The governance aspect is very, very important. That is more tangential to the work that we do in the environmental side, but it can inform the governance aspect, right? Every organization does have its fair share of corporate governance, financial governance, and other governance aspect, but they have to incorporate the energy-related, the community-related, or the sustainability-related aspects to make it stronger and more robust. So you can see it is all interconnected. So we always believe that if you don't address the first stepping stone or getting to net zero energy, net zero emissions, net zero water, and net zero waste, it will be very hard for you to be credible to play into the space of ESG and UNSDG because they are even higher abstract concepts that requires a lot more work. And due to the multidimensional nature of them, it will be really complicated for an organization to pursue. So in simple words, get started on net zero, get started on the founding principles and foundational principles, and the rest should be an easy journey to breeze through. That's how it works, and that's how you can actually effect change within an enterprise. And to the last point, there is a significant amount of rhetoric going on, particularly in the United States related to ESG. And that has always been there. It is nothing new. Just the volume is a little bit higher now. There has always been an equal number of skeptics around ESG. And this is why the responsibility sits on us, the sustainability movement, the net zero movement, to make things clearer. And once again, me and Sarah always talk about prioritizing tasks that are business case driven, that can drive business process improvement, that can drive value to the business so that you can embed the values in those business. So we cannot lose sight of it. So we have to make it very clearer and sharper for people to act. And after that, no business is going to deny itself the opportunity to play in those nice constructs. Nobody's challenging AI today, are they? Nobody's challenging AI because they know that it's going to be a differentiator, it's going to be a disruptor, and most importantly, it may even save them money. Now, with sustainability, it's not about saving lives, but it is about changing and empowering lives, right? So you have a lot better narrative, but we have to do a good job of messaging it. And that's why we love the storytelling, including what we are doing in this particular show.
And thank you so much, Mahesh, for this, because this is our mission. We are trying. It is also to create awareness, give good news, and bring change makers from around the world that are really fostering change towards a sustainable and better business. And as a last question, I want to ask a bit more a future-looking question. What do you see the emerging trend of innovation that really in sustainability that can really change and make us achieve the bold target that we gave ourselves, 2030, 2050, how we can reach there? And which trends do you see?
Yeah, I personally see this journey is already well ahead, right? Because of poor accounting, poor calibration, we are not able to understand where we have arrived. Unfortunately, I've drawn a COVID example. During COVID, the world was hit from multiple sides with a calamity, with a disruption, and the entire world came to a standstill. I still try to remember about that moment many, many times, and I still cannot believe that we were able to lock people down all around the world. And when that happened, initially there was fear, there was a lot of concern, loss of lives. None of this, I don't mean to diminish any of them. But during all of it, the humanity rose up to the action. They were able to smartly think about data. They were smartly able to think about solutions. They were able to smartly think about really coming up with care and support for their fellow human beings. And you saw an unilateral response from all around the world to tackle this calamity. Now, I don't think we need another calamity to prove that we have done or we can do good work with net zero. I hope we don't need that. I'm a perpetual optimist. So I believe that we have already arrived. We are well ahead of the game, but we are poorly accounting for it. So let's go back to those COVID days and take from the playbook of understanding where our data is and really map our progress against the data. And whatever that gap is, let's get it done. We have 25 years more to go. And that's a lot of time. We tackled COVID in a year, despite all the odds. And 25 years is not only that we want to be a net zero community, but we want to be a net positive community because we can generate more energy than we use. We can avoid more emissions than we generate. And we can absolutely save more water than we use because we have the responsibility to give something back to this world than we inherit. That is how we'll make our children's lives better than we have it today. I think I have to say that I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. And Sarah and me believe that we are here and the world is here to help people get things done because we must get it done.
I can say this is the most powerful message ever we have got. In many episodes, and I really like being optimistic. We have 25 years. We have opportunity, wonderful opportunity lies ahead. And what we said, it's really we are going to make it. So that is also why we give voice to people and we spread the thing. We have to roll our sleeves and get to work. So Mahesh, has been a wonderful pleasure and honor having you. And thank you also for this wonderful message and sharing your wisdom. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for your leadership and being a wonderful host. And your energy is infectious. So I hope many people come on your show and share our passion. And I only ask that tell them to join the network and support the cause.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Are you satisfied after this wonderful episode? Let's continue together our sustainability journey.